But I ended up having to go beyond the time of 12 o'clock, which ended up our fasting breaking was late. And also that the next day, proper appearance day, was late too. So now here in today's scenario, tomorrow we are having a program as well for Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. We'll be up very early with it. So now we are live on YouTube. So I was thinking, would it be a better idea where we can have some kind of a limit on how much we can speak? Although I hate to do this, because when people are giving their realizations, it's wonderful, What do you think? I was suggesting if we can finish, all of us can give our realizations till from say 9 o'clock now till 11 o'clock, and then 11 o'clock, then I give my realization. I'll require at least 1 hour or 1 hour 10 minutes to speak, because of what I'm been requested to speak on. That much time would be needed. So yeah, what do you all think on those points?
Yes, well, we keep 2 hours for all of us, and so that should be okay, Prabhu. I don't know unless what everybody else has prepared, but yeah, we want to give you as much time, Prabhu. We can give 3 hours, Prabhu.
No. I want to hear from all of you. Please. Don't feel it that way. Don't take it the other way around. It's your realizations are very, very critical, very, very important, and I'm here to hear as well. So yeah. So this is what I was suggesting, that if we can have this, that'll be very wonderful. What do you think?
Yes, good, Prabhuji. You can set some time limits, so everybody can stick to that.
Everybody can stick to that then. Okay. All right. So we'll work at this time of so till say 11 o'clock, for all of you, and then 11 I'll start this realization then. Is it all right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yes, Prabhu.
Let's do a quick prayers then. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Daivim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavad-Gita as it is ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Gaurchandra Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. So welcome everyone. And just to recap what we're doing today, we are celebrating Sri Krishna Janmashtami festival and Devotees Realisations. And we can see most of us are here. Many of us will be coming soon. And we have got a guest today, Niru. Is it your sister, Sanjay Prabhu, is joining us?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yes.
Here is Niru. Hare Krishna. Niru.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Nice to see you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to everyone.
Start video.
We've also got Chris today. Hare Krishna, Chris. My name is Ambarish Das.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Hi.
Hare
Nice to be here.
Yes, Jai. Are you joining us from New Zealand or?
Yes, from Whangarei in New Zealand.
Ah,
And my friend Atnamanda, he gave me the link and told me to come along and celebrate Krishna, and I'm very happy to do that. And and I love Krishna, and he's pretty awesome, and I love the cooking and the singing, and I'm just a new devotee, but I'm a really good chef. I'm happy to meet some more Krishnas and meet you guys.
wonderful. Glad to have you with us. Today we won't have prasadam though. No cooking, no food, because we are on lockdown. So we'll be giving philosophy or realizations today. So wonderful. Very nice, Upam Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Nice to see you. Sanjeev Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And Divyanshi. Hare Krishna. Nice to see you too. Krishna Das. Hari Bol. Avinash Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So Saraswati Mataji. Hare Krishna. Navrata Mataji. Hari Bol. You must be cooking.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Abhiram Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Dharmat Pranam Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Wish you a very happy Krishna consciousness Janmashtami, Prabhuji, once again.
And you, Hare Krishna. Okay, Dolly Mataji, she's at work or? Yes, Hare Krishna, Mother. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'm at home.
Okay, at home. Very nice. Hare Krishna. My wife will be joining us soon, and she's on. And Mayuresh, Hari Bol Mayuresh, you at work or you at home now?
No, Prabhuji. At home, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. You are in isolation, I was told. Your job was in some kind of...
Yes, Prabhuji. Just for a few days. I was a secondary casual contact, so didn't have that much risk. But I still had isolated myself and got the test results negative. So
you're not doing all right. Okay. Okay, wonderful. All right, as devotees still keep coming, we'll start our program. And who would like to kick off today, please? Who would like to give your realizations, please? Please feel free.
Haribol, can I start? So Hare Krishna, everyone. Wishing you all a very happy Janmashtami. So today I was meditating on what I would like to speak on, and I thought that I would try and for myself try and think about who exactly Lord Krishna is, and what makes him very unique. And also what makes him so easy for us to accept as a personality, which again adds to the uniqueness. So I'd like to start off by referring to a Srimad Bhāgavatam verse, which is Canto 3, Chapter 26, verse 3. Anadir Atma Purusho Nirgunaha Prakritehe Paraha Pratyagdhama Swayam Jyotir Vishvam Yena Samanvitam Anadir Atma Purusho Nirgunaha Prakritehe Paraha Pratyagdhama Swayam Jyotir Vishvam Yena Samanvitam. I'll repeat one more time. Anadir Atma Purusho Nirgunaha Prakritehe Paraha Pratyagdhama Swayam Jyotir Vishwam Yena Samanvitam. So I'll go to the translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Soul, and He has no beginning. He is transcendental to the material modes of nature and beyond the existence of this material world. He is perceivable everywhere because He is self-effulgent, and by His self-effulgent luster, the entire creation is maintained. So in the purport, I won't read the entire purport because it's quite long. In the purport, Prabhupada mentions that Lord Krishna is the cause of all causes. So I wanted to kind of explore that for my realization. I wanted to explore that what does it mean to be the cause of all causes? So in the purport, Prabhupada talks about consciousness and super consciousness. And Amrish Prabhu has, we did a little module on super consciousness and consciousness in our Sunday program at 6 p.m. New Zealand time. So super consciousness is all pervading. And whereas consciousness is for us individual consciousness, and that the consciousness that we see with our own senses. So Prabhupada gives a very nice analogy of the difference between consciousness and super consciousness as small light and sunlight, and that small light is experienced within specific limits. So, for example, within a room, we turn on a light, we can only see it within a certain constraint. But however, sunlight is all pervading, and we can perceive it everywhere. So that first of all, I thought that was a very interesting and very important point about Lord Krishna being super consciousness, being all pervading. So as Krishna is eternal and is the cause of all causes, I would also like to refer to the Brahma Samhita, the first verse of Brahma Samhita. It's a very famous verse that most of us know. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchid Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. So here, the translation is Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. So once again, as I mentioned, I wanted to explore what exactly it's meant by cause of all causes. So, first of all, with the sunlight and the super consciousness, we see that, Lord Krishna is all pervading. But also, as being the cause of all causes, everything emanates from him. And again, a very famous verse of the Chatur Shloki of Bhagavad-Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Mataha Sarvam Pravartate. So, Mataha Sarvam Pravartate, everything emanates from me. What exactly does that mean, that everything emanates from Lord Krishna? So Krishna, what I've written here is that Krishna is the source of all knowledge and the original authority and the original guru. So obviously with, Krishna saying everything emanates from me, there are a lot of things that, we could talk about here. I would like to focus on one specific thing. With Krishna being the supermost authority and guru. So again, I would like to refer to a Bhagavad-Gita verse this time, in which Lord Krishna, talks about this in detail in the Bhagavad-Gita. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manor Ikshvakave Bhavit. The Blessed Lord said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivasvan. And Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind. And Manu, in turn, instructed it to Ikshvaku. So here, Lord Krishna is referring to the Bhagavad-Gita that he spoke to Lord Arjun. And Lord Krishna is saying that he actually spoke this to the sun god, Vivasvan. So this was prior to speaking it to Lord Arjun. To Arjun. Prabhupada mentions in the purport that this would have been approximately 120 million years ago. We talk a lot in Krishna consciousness about following a bona fide disciplic succession, following a bona fide spiritual master, Guru Shishya Parampara. So, as Prabhupada has mentioned in a lecture, I think it was in a lecture, a Janmashtami lecture in London, where Prabhupada said that actually the difference between Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, what we follow, is that every teacher, every guru submits to an authority, who in turn submits to an authority, and that's how the disciplic succession is. And there has to be a bona fide spiritual master. So this succession, this disciplic succession, goes all the way to Lord Krishna. So as Lord Krishna says, he instructed to Vivasvan, Vivasvan instructed to Manu, Manu instructed to Ikshvaku, and the disciplic succession goes all the way down. So here we see that Krishna, Krishna is the original, knower of everything, the manifestation of knowledge. That was one important point that I would like to explore about how Lord Krishna is the cause of all causes and the eternal knower. But despite the eternal existence of Lord Krishna, he still manifests himself in the original transcendental two-armed form, which is blooming with youth. This was something that was very, very interesting to me, that in spite of Lord Krishna being the original cause of all causes, eternally existing, Lord Krishna always manifested himself in a very youthful way. So there are a couple of references here that I would like to very quickly divulge into. First of all, the Brahma Samhita, 533. So Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam Adiyam Purana Purusham Navayovanamcha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. The important part here is Adiyam Purana Purusham Navayovanamcha, where Prabhupada mentions that even though he is the original creator, he is always manifested as the fresh youth. Navayovanamcha. So there's another reference of Lord Krishna manifesting himself as youth in particular. So Bhagavad-Gita chapter 4 text 6. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishvaro pisan prakritim swam adishtaya sambhavam yat atma mayaya. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. In the purport, Prabhupada mentions what this original transcendental form is, and that Lord Krishna's transcendental eternal form is as holding the flute with two hands, a two-handed form holding a flute. Boyish in nature, he remains the same unborn eternal form of knowledge and bliss, but he is also youthful. He manifests as a 25-year-old. When Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago in the Mahabharata, Lord Krishna had many grandchildren, but he always looked like he was 25 years old. So again, this shows that Lord Krishna is not bound by the modes of material nature. He remains in his eternal form. Regardless, we age, our bodies change, but Krishna's body never changes. Krishna says in the translation, as I had mentioned, he appears in every millennium in his original transcendental form. He always appears as a youthful young man. So this leads on to my next point. I'm sorry, I'm taking a bit of time here, but I wanted to also explore that yes, Lord Krishna advents in the material world. Why does Lord Krishna advent? So Prabhupada says that Lord Krishna advents in this material world to teach us a lesson. So to show us the dharmic values. To explore this further, I'll go on to chapter 4, text 7, which is actually the next verse after Lord Krishna explains that he comes down to the material world in his transcendental form. We all know this verse, and Atmananda Prabhu last Sunday said this verse as well. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice or descendant of Bharat and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. So Lord Krishna advanced himself because there's a rise of irreligion, and to establish the religious principles, establish the dharmic nature. So that shows us that Lord Krishna he manifests his transcendental form, and he comes to the material world to deliver us from, and to establish religious principles. But Prabhupada mentions that it is important to know all these things. Why is it important to know all these things? Why is it important to know who Krishna is, what his qualities are, what his pastimes are, why he advanced in the material world? And this is explained in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 4, text 9. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvataha tyaktva deham punar janma netimam eti sorjana. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. So this is why it is very important for me, for all of us to know about Lord Krishna's transcendental pastimes, because this is the key to going back to Godhead. And again, it's coming back to my original point of what I wanted to discuss, that why Lord Krishna makes it easy for us to understand him as a person. With all these pastimes of Lord Krishna on earth, these are all very personal pastimes. Lord Krishna is not manifested as the eternal Brahman, but as a person in his two-handed form. So that is why Lord Krishna makes it very easy for us, because ultimately to go back to Godhead, we have to develop a relationship with Lord Krishna. And how can we develop a relationship with Lord Krishna if we don't know anything about them, anything about their activities, what they look like, what they what they like, what they don't like, everything Lord Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad-Gita. So our aim is to understand about Krishna. Our aim is to develop a relationship with him and go back to Godhead. And writing it down, it seems very easy, that all we have to do is, understand who Krishna is, understand his pastimes, and that's it. We go back to Godhead. And Srila Gurudev, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, says that actually Krishna consciousness is very easy, but we make it very complicated. When we bring our mind in the middle, we become our own concocted things in the middle where we can't control our mind. So obviously, it seems very easy, but the process itself is a very big challenge when you have to navigate through all the adverse nature of the material world. But I thought, this is my realization that, actually when you look at everything is very much there in front of us. We've got so much Shastric injunctions, which give us a very personal, understanding of who Lord Krishna is, which I think is very, very unique. And, all glories to Srila Prabhupada for, showing us all these things. Because, if you look at, philosophers or even theistic people with no Shastric knowledge, they have a very vague idea of, God, or who God is, or what God's purpose is, etc. Or, what our purpose is. How do we develop a relationship with Lord Krishna? Lord Krishna, everything is present here for us to see. And my realization is I have to take the initiative. I have to read, read Prabhupada's books, internalize everything, understand things, because it's all there. That was something that really hit me hard, that I don't have to go searching, and that everything is actually here. So that was my realization. Thank you very much. Sri Krishna Janmashtami Mahamotsav ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Krishna Das, for a nice realization. Yes, who would like to continue now? Please don't make me wait for asking. Just jump in and give your realizations. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and happy Janmashtami to everyone. And thank you, Amrish Prabhu, for organizing this wonderful realization. So my realization, actually, thank you, Krishna Samarpan Das. It's very wonderful realization, and most of the realization actually is covered what I wanted to say, but I will repeat it again. Like what he mentioned, that what Lord Krishna, it's very easy to understand, but it is complicated. We make it complicated, but it's very easy to understand, provided if we focus on transcendental pastime of the Lord Krishna, then we will be able to achieve what we want. So I start with chapter 4, verse 9. Janma karmascha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyakta deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjun, Lord Krishna says here, the one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So I being a neophyte of this Krishna consciousness, my focus would be to participate, to understand Bhagavad-Gita with the association of the devotees and understand the pastime of the gods, which I used to think it that why I should read the pastime of the Lord Krishna. That was like long back before I'm coming to the Krishna consciousness. But then now I realize that what is more important than reading the pastimes, what knowledge we get it, tremendous knowledge we get it, and everything when you are into it, then you understand, and your path is getting clear. So today is the auspicious day of Janmashtami, when Lord Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago in India, Mathura. Lord Krishna appeared in Mathura in his material uncle's house in a very precarious condition. Lord Krishna doesn't take birth like us. That is also explained. Krishnadas Prabhu, he has already focused on that point. But in Bhagavad-Gita, when Arjuna inquired from Krishna, my dear Krishna, you said that you spoke this yoga system in Bhagavad-Gita 500 or trillion, millions and trillions years ago to Lord Surya. You spoke with, and I believe that. And Krishna says, yes, I spoke, but that time you're not there. Every time I also appear many, many times, but I appear many times. But the difference is that I remember and you don't remember. That's why the Krishna comes whenever there is a necessary, then he appears. So that is the difference between God and ordinary living creature. So there are 8,400,000 species of life. So long we are in the material world. We are cycling around this birth after birth. So Krishna's birth is not like that. Therefore, Krishna says that Janma karma mi divyam yo janati tatva. One who knows the truth, he can get liberation immediately. And how one can understand the same truth, which explained in Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 18, verse 55. Bhaktya mama jinanati yavanyash asmi tattvataha tato ma tato jnatva vishate tadantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such a devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. So Lord declaring here itself that one must understand, one must involve in the devotional service, then you can understand me. So then also, if you see that in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, verse 26, Putram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Me Bhaktya Prayachati. Any person who gives me a little fruit, little water, but with devotion and faith, Lord eats. Srila Prabhupada says that due to poor fund of knowledge, people think that the God does not eat, but God eats. Prabhupada says his eating process is different. That is answered in the Brahma Samhita, and it is said that Angani Yasha Sankalendriya Vriti Manti. God's senses are as powerful as other senses, just like I can see with my eyes, but Krishna can eat with his eyes. So superficially, if we try to understand God by our experimental knowledge, that is not possible to understand God. So the Brahma Samhita, it says that if one starts on the chariot of air and make progress at the speed of mind, still one cannot understand what is God, which mentioned in Brahma Samhita chapter 5 verse 33. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhaktavu. He cannot be understood simply by just studying Vedas. One has to transcend the position of Vedas. Also, then one can understand what is the God. And the process is explained in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 8, 18 verse 55. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by only devotional service. So in Canto 7, chapter 5, verse 23, says that Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Sravanam Pada Sevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasya, Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. Prahlad Maharaj said, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. So these are the process of devotional service which we must understand and give preference to that, and which they are very important. So without hearing, nobody can understand the science of God. Even Parikshit Maharaj, he understood simply by hearing. The Parikshit Maharaj, simply by hearing, he got perfection. So our human life, ultimate goal is to achieve immortality. Tyakta deham punar janma naiti. Means we have forgotten this. We are simply leading the life without any knowledge. We should know what is the goal of life. The goal of life is Atma Vratam, to become immortal. So Krishna's advent to teach us that you are immortal by nature. As a spirit soul, you are part and parcel of me. So we have to purify our existence. Then you can get ultimate, unlimited pleasure, unlimited happiness. And that is the real pleasure, which everyone is seeking, and I am also seeking in the same. So Krishna claims that I am everyone's father. Therefore, he is very much anxious to make us peaceful and happy. Therefore, he comes sometimes, like says, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanira Bhakti. This is the purpose of the Krishna's advent. So, devotee of Krishna, being a devotee of Krishna, should take this mission of Krishna. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Amar Ajanat Guru Hana, Tara Hi Desha, Yare Dekha, Tare Dekha, Krishna Upadesha. Just try to preach what Krishna said in the Bhagavad-Gita. Don't take your knowledge, just take the knowledge from the Bhagavad-Gita and try to preach it. So therefore, we are sensible, wise, and advanced in knowledge. Then my duty is to understand, surrender to Krishna. And this is the conclusion. And I have to surrender and seek protection from the lotus feet of Krishna. And there will be, then I will be definitely crossing over this all illusory energy. Hare Krishna, this is my realization.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, you have to move a bit fast. I could feel. That's okay. Very nice. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Please continue. Don't make me wait, ask people. Yeah, just give your realizations.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Sopan Prabhu and Avinash Prabhu, for your nice realizations. Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhu, for your very nice realizations. So both of you actually very nicely explained some of the qualities of Lord Krishna, as cause of all causes. And so Pan Prabhu also nicely explained. So today, first of all, happy Janmashtami to all of you. So I would like to actually focus today on this. Lord Krishna has 64 different qualities. So I would like to focus on his aspect of being absolute truth. So Srimad Bhagavatam was 1.1.1, the very first one in Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadiyasyato Anuveda Itiratas Charteshva Bhignaswarat Tene Brahmaridaya Adikavaye Muyanti Yatasureyaha Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinamayo Yatratri Sargo Ambrisha Dhamna Swana Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. So, translation, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ji ki jai. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth, and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance and destruction of manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge into the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representation of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reaction of the three modes of material nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. So Satyam Param Dhimahi, so Krishna is referred here as the supreme absolute truth. So actually in the context of actually Sri Krishna Janmashtami, so as actually we very nicely discussed during the Sunday's class, actually before actually Krishna appeared, the atmosphere become very auspicious, all the actual directions become so auspicious, the constellation was there, that was very auspicious as well, and everything felt very pleasing. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, there is actually when Supreme Personality of Godhead, actually he entered the womb of Devaki Mataji, to kill Kamsa. So all the demigods understood that Lord was living within Devaki's womb, and therefore in veneration, they offered him Garbhastuti prayers. So these are very beautiful prayers, and they are very instructive as well. Actually, I would like to just share a couple of them, and I would try to share my realization, but mostly I will focus on the first prayer. So Canto 10, Chapter 2, verse 26. And this is very melodious. Satyavratam sat param tri satyam satyasya yonim nihitam cha satte satyasa satyam riti satya netram satyam akamtam sharanam prapannam. So, translation, the demigods prayed, O Lord, you never deviate from your vow, which is always perfect, because whatever you decide is perfectly correct and cannot be stopped by anyone. Being present in the three phases of cosmic manifestation, creation, maintenance, and annihilation, you are the supreme truth. Indeed, unless one is completely truthful one cannot achieve your favor, which therefore cannot be achieved by the hypocrites. You are the active principle, the real truth, in all ingrains of creation, and therefore you are known as Antaryami, the inner force. You are equal to everyone, and your instruction applies for everyone, for all time. You are the beginning of all truth. Therefore, offering our obeisances, we surrender unto you. Kindly give us protection. So this is a prayer offered by demigods, So as this verse actually focuses on that actually absolute truth, there are word Sat appeared 9 times, So it talks about actually absolute nature of Krishna. And it's also described relative truth as well as a source of, Krishna is also a source of relative truths. And it also focuses on actually where it described Satyasa Yonim. So actually Krishna being the source of all incarnations. So the first verse, Satyavratam. So that is actually very important. And in word-to-word synonyms, it says the personality of Godhead who never deviates from his vow. So Krishna, as being absolute truth, and is very truthful, he never breaks his word. Yes and no as well. For his devotees, he can even break his vow. But normally he always, whatever he speaks, he always fulfill. Especially if his devotee gave the word, he definitely fulfilled that. And there are so many examples given in Srimad Bhāgavatam, and we have discussed that in the past as well. Satya Makam Tam Sharanam Prapannam. So the real protection can be only offered by Krishna only. No one can actually offer the absolute protection. So Srila Prabhupada in the purpose says that actually children, a newborn child, is normally under the protection of their parents. But that child will not survive if Krishna neglects it, or even deceased person. Actually, even having access to all the medication and modern science still cannot survive if Krishna don't want him to. So unless Krishna wish, it is not possible. As Srila Prabhupada says that there is not even a glass of blade can even move without sanction of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is very important point to understand, because I meditated on that point. Even actually we try to follow this path of Bhakti Yoga. Still, actually, I was thinking about that, and I realized that how much faith we have in Krishna, that really matters. Means Bhakti Yoga process teaches us that to be completely dependent on Krishna. But we are actually under the influence of the 3 modes of material nature. We are constantly making plans, in this material world. We try to create the world which is safer for us, So there are many examples like, we take insurance. We try to build a safe house. We try to actually ride a car which has high safety ratings. Despite all that, if Krishna does not sanction it, there is no chance of survival. So that is very, grossly speaking. But anything we actually plan to do, if we actually try to achieve this in material world or try to enjoy in this material world without Krishna, then we are bound to suffer. So our dependence on Krishna is very critical, and being dependent on Krishna, we can have all certainty that we can actually able to achieve what we're trying to achieve, as long as it is in line with what is actually given in the Bhakti Yoga process. So as Satyavrat, Krishna has made many promises in Bhagavad-Gita. As one of the famous verse, Sarva dharma parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshaishami masuchaha. So Krishna is very boldly declaring, give up all sort of religions, all sort of faiths, and just surrender unto him, and he shall give us a protection. And he says, do not fear. So as being Satyavrat, we should not have any doubt in his statement. And actually, when you come to think about it, actually reading is one thing, and actually practically implementing that instruction in real life is quite hard, at least for myself. We are still on a learning curve, but because our attachment to the matter, we always, as Prabhupada says, that because we are so attached.
Hello. Sorry.
We're always, okay. Prabhupada actually very nicely described actually the material miseries in this material world by giving an example. I think there is a very famous prayer in Srimad Bhāgavatam as well, where Prabhupada describes the power, a power. So I won't go into the details. I have to be mindful of the time here. But as long as we have full faith in Krishna's words, there should be nothing should come in a way to actually implement this instruction. Srila Prabhupada also said that we should not be actually worried about our maintenance or sustenance in this material world, and we should fully focus in our devotional service, where Prabhupada actually talk about all the devotees. When Prabhupada was here on this planet, when he began his movement, actually all the devotees, they actually used to stay with Srila Prabhupada in the temples, and they never had any permanent jobs or anything, but still they were very nicely maintained by Lord Krishna. There is another verse which actually confirms this. Ananyasa chintayanto mam ena janah parivipasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamiham. For those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, I carry them what they lack and preserve what they have. So we have actually this instruction, means even devotees in their actually preliminary stage, they can even experience this actually, when they actually try to follow this path, you will see that actually things fall in place, you will see that things are actually happening without making much efforts, So that is actually Krishna's helping, it's Krishna's mercy, nothing else. So we should not be worried about maintenance, As Prabhupada says, Krishna is maintaining everyone, so he should also maintain us, especially when we actually try to follow on his path. So second point from this verse is the supreme absolute truth, where actually I already talked about his actually absolute nature, where Krishna is referred here as a Satyam Param, the supreme absolute truth, Satyam Param Dhimahi. So everyone is actually searching after truth. So as Lord Sri Krishna, as a Bhagavan, he has actually 6 opulences. So even if we see, Prabhupada actually very nicely explained that even if we see any beauty in this material world, it has its origin in Krishna. Even if we see any wisdom, it is actually coming from Krishna. If you see any strength, so that is also coming from Krishna. So Krishna is also the source of all the relative truth that we see. And this is very nicely explained by Krishna himself in Bhagavad-Gita in chapter 8, So, and also the Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he very nicely explained the reference here is given where it says Satyasya Yonim. So Krishna is actually, he's a source of all the incarnations that we see. So Srimad Bhagavatam verse, chapter 1, Canto 1, chapter 3, verse 28. Ete cham shakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indradi Vyakulam Lokam Vridayanti Yuge Yuge. All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions of the plenary portions of the Lord, but Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on the planets whenever there is a disturbance created by a theist. The Lord incarnates to protect the theist. So this is similar actually instruction as what is stated in Bhagavad-Gita, yada yada hi dharmasya and pavitranaya sadhunam. So similar, but actually this verse exclusively confirms Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So we have actually known that there are many incarnations and expansions of Krishna, but Krishna as in his actually two-handed Sham Sundar form is the actually original, he's the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he is the source of all incarnations. And as I said, there are 6 appearances, So Aishwarasya Samagrasya Virashayasya Shriyaha Jnana Vairagya Yoshaiva Sanambhaga Itingana. So Krishna has these 6 opulences: full strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. So there are different incarnations I have exhibited these different actually opulences, where Lord Parashuram and Lord Narasimha displayed this unusual opulence by killing the disobedient Kshatriyas 21 times and killing the greatly powerful atheist, that is Hiranyakashipu, where the incarnation Narad and Varaha and Lord Buddha, actually they created the faith in mass of the people. That is actually nicely described in the purport. Whereas incarnation of Ram and Dhanvantari displayed his fame. Balram, Mohini and Vaman exhibited his beauty. Dattatreya, Matsya, Kumar and Kapil exhibited the transcendental knowledge. Nar Narayan Rishi exhibited his renunciation. And Lord Krishna, the primary Lord, exhibited the complete feature of Godhead. Thus he is confirmed that he is the source of all other incarnation. So going back to the verse, so Krishna as a source of incarnation actually means, it is actually also mentioned in the actually next verses that actually Krishna appears in this world out of his own sweet will, pleasure potency, So it is said that actually Krishna appears whenever there is a decline in the religion and to re-establish the principles of religion. That is true. But Srila Prabhupada says that there is no need for him to come down to do that. His actually expansions and energies can actually easily do that. But Krishna actually appears, as I said, out of his own will, So he want to enjoy, and he also want to actually give the pleasure to his devotees. And that's why he's actually he descends as one of his incarnation, or he descends himself in his original as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shamasundar form. So this is actually means what I realized from this verse. So also I actually remember the instruction of His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, where Maharaj actually, there was Melo, where Maharaj stated that actually whenever Krishna appears, everything become auspicious, So we should be, every day we should remember Krishna, we should perform the arti, we should chant, no matter what is the difficulty, we should always do that. And actually by remembering Krishna, so as we know that Krishna in this Kali Yuga has appeared as his Naam, his holy name. So even if we chant, so Krishna is actually appearing and he's purifying. So that is a point to understand. And we should not really have to wait for Janmashtami to come to remember Krishna. His Grace Avinash Prabhu very nicely explained on Sunday's class as well, the same point. Every day should be Janmashtami. So Krishna, as he is actually residing in everybody's heart, as a Sarvasya Chaham Riddhi Sinnivishto. So he is in the heart of all the living entities. So actually, we just have to realize that point, and we have to be very determined to follow the instruction that are given to us, where actually we should remember Krishna, and we should always engage ourselves in the service of the Krishna. So that way we can feel his presence every day, not just on Janmashtami, because it's very easy to actually talk about Krishna or celebrate Janmashtami, and after that we can actually just go back to our old ways. But actually we should actually try to feel Janmashtami on daily basis. That way Krishna can actually appear in our heart, and that is only hope that actually we can actually able to purify ourselves, and that will actually gives us a chance that we can actually go back to Godhead. So that is my realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Shizal Prabhu. Thank you, Supan Prabhu. Thank you, Krishna Swapan Prabhu. And thank you for Amrish Prabhu for your organizing very nice class on this auspicious day. And happy Krishna Janmashtami to all the devotees. So today we discussing the advent of Lord Krishna, and devotees shared different points, and my realization is also on the similar points. So the advent of Lord Krishna is not ordinary. Srila Prabhupada said that it's not even extraordinary, it is beyond our conception. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, what is special in his advent and why he advent on this earth? So I'll refer a few verses, and the first verse is that Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 4 verse 6, Ajo api sanna avyatma bhutanam ishvaro api sanna prakritim swan adhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. So that is, it says here that Aja, Lord says that Aja, he is unborn. So this is very bewildering. If Lord is Aja, then how he can take birth? And the similar sort of reference is in the Srimad Bhāgavatam, where in the Kunti Devi prayers, in Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse 30, where Kunti Devi is saying that Janma karma cha vishwatmanna manna ajasya karatur atmanaha triyan nireshu yadheshu tad atyanta vidambanam. Of course, it is bewildering, O soul of the universe, that you work through you are inactive, and that you take birth though you are the vital force and the unborn. You yourself descend amongst animal, men, sages, and aquatics. Verily, this is bewildering. So, Srila Prabhupada said in the purport that the transcendental pastime of the Lord are not only bewildering, but also apparently contradictory. In other words, they are all inconceivable to the limited thinking power of the human being. Every action of the Lord is bewildering to the common man. He cannot be understood by the Vedic knowledge, but he can be easily understood by the pure devotion because and pure devotees because they are intimately related to him. So this is the point, that intimately relation. So here we can understand that pure devotee or pure devotion, we can understand by pure devotion, we can understand the Supreme Lord, Krishna. The point is to be the relationship with Krishna. As Srila Prabhupada mentioned, that pure devotee is intimately related to him. As we know, there are 5 main rasas which we can establish relationship with the Lord: Santa in neutrality, Vatsalya parenting, Dasya as servitor, Sakhya friendship, and Madhurya conjugal love. So if we are not in relationship with Krishna, then it's very difficult to understand Krishna. Srila Prabhupada further said in his purport that when Krishna appeared on earth, not everyone knew that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He generally appeared to be just like an ordinary human being. For those who regard Krishna as an ordinary human being, Krishna will deal like an ordinary human being. Whereas devotees who accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead will enjoy the association of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here Srila Prabhupada mentioned that not everyone accepts Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because this is mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita 9, chapter 9, verse 11, that avajananti ma mudha manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam jananto mambhutam maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. So Lord Krishna comes appearing as a human form. In reality, he is not a human being. He looks like one. He seems to be a human to fools, but pure devotees of the Lord knows his real position. And this is what Kunti Devi describing in the when she's praying. And this is another verse of her prayers, Canto 1, chapter 8, verse 18. Kunti vacha namaste purusham tvadyam ishwaram prakritihi param alakshayam sarva bhutanam antarbahir avasthitam. Srimati Kunti said, "O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all." So, so Krishna is described here original person and unaffected by the qualities of material world. Krishna is Adi Purusha. As Krishna Smarpan Prabhu mentioned that, refer this verse also from Brahma Samhita. I would like to recite that again. Advaitam achyuttam anadam anantarupam adyam purana purusham navayovanam cha vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhaktau govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. So Lord is Adi Purusha, yet he is Nava Yovanam, a blooming youth. Second point is that Material qualities do not affect him. He is Achuttam, he without decay. Material world is external potency of the Lord and works under his direction. Maya Dhakshena Prakritihi. So this is the real position of the Lord. And his appearance and disappearance is beyond our understanding. When Lord Krishna appears in this world, he is not subject to ordinary birth rules. He manifests himself before devotees. This is also confirmed in the Krishna book by Srila Prabhupada in the 2nd chapter, where I'll just quickly read a little para. Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is always ready to protect his unalloyed devotees, entered within the mind of Vasudeva as the Lord of the whole creation, with full inconceivable potencies. It is understood in this connection that Lord Krishna first of all situated himself in the unalloyed heart of Vasudeva and was then transferred to the heart of Devaki. He was not put into the womb of Devaki by seminal discharge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable potency, can appear in any way. It is not necessary for him to appear in the ordinary way by seminal injection within the womb of a woman. The appearance of the form of Krishna anywhere and specifically within the heart is called Dhamma. Dhamma refers not only to Krishna's form, but also to his name, his qualities, and his paraphernalia. Everything becomes manifest simultaneously. So this transfer from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, exactly as the setting sun's rays are transferred to the full moon rising in the east. Jai. So this is the point that here that the Supreme Lord's appearance is not ordinary. It is bewildering to ordinary man. Now, why Lord Krishna appear in this world? The famous verses, chapter 4, verse 7 and 8, we already discussed those, that the purpose of his advent. The real purpose is to attract and giving chance to living entities to take part in his pastimes and loving exchange. Lord's most confidential loving affairs are possible only in Vrindavan. So Srila Prabhupada said that if we simply learn how to love Krishna, we can immediately transform this world into Vrindavan. So Krishna's appearance and disappearance are meant to put an end to the living entities' transmigration from one body to another. And therefore, one should understand the greatness of plan behind Krishna's appearance and disappearance. It is not that Krishna comes whimsically. He has a great plan. Otherwise, why should he come here? He is very much eager to take us back home, back to Godhead. That is Krishna's business. Therefore, he says in Bhagavad-Gita 18.66 that Sarva Dharman Pritajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshishyami Masutra. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction and do not fear. So in the end, I just want to finish with the Kunti Maharani's prayer. That is, again, is in Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse 21. His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj said in one of his lecture that chant these 5 words and you will be liberated. And the verse is, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nand and other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. Yeah, so this is my realization. And so I wish you all the devotees again very happy Janmashtami, and thank you Amrish Prabhu for giving us chance to speak. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Happy Janmashtami to all of you. And thank you to Amrish Prabhu to start with for taking all those pains and getting this organized. Otherwise, we all would have been sleeping. At least I would have been sleeping. Thank you, Krishna Prabhu. Your relation was means you are touched on a very simple point, that why we miss it out, and in spite of everything in front of us, and we just don't understand it. And then Sopan Prabhu saying that this is actually nothing but illusionary energy. So that was very nicely covered. I wanted to focus on Krishna's past time before appearance, and that's from Canto 10, Chapter 1. And this is very interesting when actually Kans is taking his sister Devaki, and Vasudeva is there very respectfully, and then all of a sudden he's trying to kill his sister. Imagine somebody is trying to kill a sister, his sister. And then I wanted to understand that what has happened, and what means. I just wanted to focus on that small incident, and just to understand that how Krishna's energy and how Krishna and his pure devotees actually work and the pastimes. So I'll maybe doing mistakes, but I'll try my best. So I'll just quickly, before I go to the verse, the sequence is that Devaki is now being killed, and Vasudeva has no option. So he starts preaching Kans. And I'll tell you briefly that what he's preaching, try to give him knowledge. And his Devaki's hair are in Kansa's hand and his sword in his hand, and he's trying to kill. And then he doesn't realize, he doesn't stop. He said, it doesn't matter. And then Vasudeva Maharaj thinks that what should I do now? So he talks diplomatically. This is the word Prabhupada used in the Krishna book. And hoping that this will actually, he will probably understand. And he gives some more lecture. And then ultimately he promises that, okay, I'll give you all my children, you do whatever you want to do. And so this is, I want to start from chapter 10, verse, Canto 10, chapter 1, verse number 58. And this is where it talks about those questions which actually come to the discussion where Sukadeva Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj. I'll quickly go to translation because we'll be running short of time. What is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? Question number 1. What is painful to saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? How could there not be independence for pure devotees who know the Supreme Lord as the substance? Question number 2. Question number 3. What deeds are forbidden for persons of the lowest character? Imagine lowest characters, they have also a forbidden deed. And what cannot be given up for the sake of Lord Krishna by those who have fully surrendered at his lotus feet? And what cannot be given up for the sake of Lord Krishna by those who have fully surrendered at his lotus feet? Now we relate to this particular incidents happening, and the purport is very small. Before I go on to further keep sharing my relations and some point which I picked up. Since the eighth son of Devaki was to kill Kansa, one might ask what the need was for Vasudeva to deliver the firstborn child. The answer is that Vasudeva had promised Kansa that he would deliver all the children born of Devaki. Kansa, being an Asura, did not believe that eighth child would kill him. He took it for granted that he might be killed by any children of Devaki. Vasudeva, therefore, to save Devaki, promised to give Kansa every child, whether male or female. From another point of view, Vasudeva and Devaki were very pleased when they understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna would come as the eighth son, Vasudeva is a pure devotee of the Lord, was eager to see Krishna appear as his child from the 8th pregnancy of Devaki. Therefore, he wanted to deliver all the children quickly so that the 8th turn would come and Krishna would appear. He begot one child every year so that Krishna's turn to appear would come as soon as possible. So this is the purport Prabhupada, right? And I'll just now quickly go back to just the sequence, how things happen, so that we understand the mood of these devotees who are actually performing pastime with Krishna's pastime. So this is verse number 34, and some points. While Kansa, controlling the reins of the horse, was driving the chariot along the way, an unembodied voice addressed him. "You foolish rascal, the 8th child of the woman you are carrying will kill you." And this is an incident happening, then everybody reacts. Kansa was a condemned personality in the Bhoj dynasty because he was envious and sinful. Therefore, upon hearing this omen from the sky, he caught hold of his sister's hair with his left hand and took up his sword with his right hand to sever her head from her body. Now Vasudeva, wanting to pacify Kansa, who was so cruel and envious that he was shamelessly ready to kill his sister, the great soul Vasudeva, who was to be the father of Kansa, who was to be the father of Krishna, spoke to him in the following words. Kansa was immediately ready to kill Devaki, but Vasudeva diplomatically began to instruct him. Vasudeva stressed that it would not be good for Kansa to kill his younger sister, especially at the time of her marriage. Anyone who possesses a material body must die. Vasudeva advised him, every living entity lives in a body for some time and then transmigrate to another body, but one is unfortunately misled into accepting the body as the soul is, as the soul. If a person under this mistaken conception wants to kill another body, he is condemned as hellish. So he is giving a lecture. This I picked them from Krishna's book. And so basically he's telling him what are the duty of a brother. Death is actually inevitable, whether somebody kills you, my 8th child, or anybody, you are going to die. And we are going to suffer or enjoy depending upon our karmas. That's Vasudeva talking in that Sukadeva Goswami is telling about this. And why to control mind, that why you are trying to control this situation, because you are controlled by modes. He's giving this lecture when his wife is going to be killed. He will suffer, anybody who does this kind of karma, he will suffer in next life, but Kansa is not affected. And finally, about his duties as a brother, that what you should not do, why you should kill your sister who is like your daughter. So after this incident and these 3 personalities, Kansa is obviously not a personality, but he's a demon, is playing an important role here. And then further in the Bhāgavatam, Sukadeva Goswami is talking about, Sukadeva Goswami continued, "O best of the Kuru dynasty, Kansa was fiercely cruel and was actually a follower of the Rakshasas. Therefore, he could not be neither pacified nor terrified by the good instructions given by Vasudeva. He did not care about the results of sinful activities either in this life or in the next." This is how Asuras react. When Vasudeva saw that Kansa was determined to kill his sister Devaki, he thought to himself very deeply. Considering the imminent danger of death, he thought of another plan to stop Kansa. Planning is prohibited in Bhagavad-Gita, but he started planning. As long as he has intelligence and bodily strength, an intelligent person must try to avoid death. This is the duty of every embodied person, but if death cannot be avoided in spite of one's endeavors, a person facing death commits no offense. That's Bhagavatam talking about it, that how we should do in extreme situation. Vasudeva considered by delivering all my sons to Kansa, who is death personified, I shall save the life of Devaki. Perhaps Kansa will die before my sons take birth, or since he is already destined to die at the hands of my son, one of my sons may kill him. For the time being, let me promise to hand over my sons so that Kansa will give up his immediate threat, and if in due course of time Kansa dies, I shall have nothing to fear. So that is what Vasudeva Maharaj is thinking, that what he should propose, what can actually happen, and I should take a chance that this may happen, this may not happen, and that's Vasudeva Maharaj. After thus considering the matter as far as his knowledge would allow, Vasudeva submitted his proposal to the sinful Kansa with great respect. So a pure devotee, even in this extreme situation, he was sober, in other verses, and he is giving respect to Kansa. That's the verse I was referring when I started, where Shukdev Goswami asking this question to Parikshit Maharaj. So that is how a pure devotee will actually do things. So he, in this situation also, he is respecting. Vasudeva's mind was full of anxiety. His wife was facing danger, but in order to please the cruel, shameless and sinful Kansa, he externally smiled and spoke to him as follows. So I don't know how somebody can smile when his wife is going to be killed. And that's very, as Sanjeev Prabhu that said, is inconceivable, Krishna's pastimes. And Vasudeva Maharaj further said, O best of the sober, you have nothing to fear from your sister Devaki. Because of what you have heard from the unseen omen, the cause of death will be her sons. Therefore, I promise that when she gives birth to the sons from whom you fear has risen, I shall deliver them all unto your hands. That's Vasudeva Maharaj promising nicely like a pure devotee. Now Shukadeva Goswami says, Kansa agreed to the logical arguments of Vasudeva. I have actually cut paste a lot of things. So Kansa agreed to the logical arguments of Vasudeva, and having full faith in Vasudeva's words, he refrained from killing his sister. Vasudeva, being pleased with Kansa, pacified him further and entered his own house. So he's gone back. Kansa is convinced and he's gone back because he said, and I'll probably further say that why actually Kansa agreed to Vasudeva Maharaj. Each year thereafter, in due course of time, Devaki, the mother of God, and all the demigods, Devaki, the mother of God, and all the demigods gave birth to a child. Thus she bore 8 sons, one after another, and a daughter named Subhadra. Vasudeva was very much disturbed by fear of becoming a liar by breaking his promise. Thus, with great pain, he delivered his firstborn son named Kirtiman into the hands of Kansa. Imagine this situation, newborn child being given to Kansa to kill. And then the verse I actually just, the discussion with which I started. What is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? How could there not be the independence for pure devotees who know the Supreme Lord as the substance? What deeds are forbidden for persons of the lower character? And what cannot be given up for the sake of Lord Krishna by those who have fully surrendered at his lotus feet? So this is the question now, actually in this sequence, Sukadeva Maharaj is asking to Parikshit Maharaj. And he continues, my dear King Parikshit, when Kansa saw that Vasudeva being situated in truthfulness was completely equipoised in giving him the child, he was very happy. Vasudeva Maharaj was happy. Therefore, with a smiling face, he spoke as follows. O Vasudeva, you may take back your child, now Kansa is telling, and go home. I have no fear of your first child. It is the 8th child of you and Devaki I am concerned with, because that is the child by whom I am destined to be killed. So Kansa is trying to be a good person here. Vasudeva agreed and looked and took his child back home. But because Kansa had no character and no self-control, Vasudeva knew that he could not rely on Kansa's word. Now, coming back to this conclusion, which I actually picked up from Krishna's book, because same points are in the Krishna's book also and in Bhāgavatam also. When the first son was born by Vasudeva kept his words of honor and immediately brought the child before Kansa. It is said that Vasudeva was very much elevated and famous for his words of honor, and he wanted to maintain his fame. Although it was very painful for Vasudeva to hand over the newly born child, Kansa was very glad to receive him. But he became a little compassionate with the behavior of Vasudeva. This event is very exemplary. For a great soul like Vasudeva, there is nothing considered to be painful in the course of discharging one's duty. That is the question which Sukadeva Maharaj was asking. A learned person like Vasudeva carries out his duties without hesitation. On the other hand, a demon like Kansa never hesitates in committing any abominable action. It is said, therefore, that a saintly person can tolerate all kinds of miserable conditions of life. A learned man can discharge his duties without awaiting favorable circumstances. A heinous person like Kansa can act in any sinful way, and a devotee can sacrifice everything to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kansa became satisfied by the action of Vasudeva. He was surprised to see Vasudeva keeping his promise and being compassionate upon him and pleased, he began to speak as follows. And he sent his son, asked him to take your child back. I'm not in danger from this child. I have heard that the 8th child born of you and Devaki will kill me. And why should I accept this child and unnecessary? You can go home. When Vasudeva Maharaj was returning home with his firstborn child, and although he was pleased by the behavior of Kansa, he could not believe in him because he knew that Kansa was uncontrolled. An atheistic person cannot be firm in his words of honor. One who cannot control the senses cannot be steady in determination. So that is, I probably repeated some points here. But after this, we know what happened. Narad Muni goes there, and because they all wanted Krishna to manifest as soon as possible. So now coming back to those questions which I was asking. So what is painful? The painful to a pure devotee is not keeping the word, being a liar. So a devotee cannot be untruthful. How could be no independence for a pure devotee if they depend on Krishna all the time? What are the forbidden for persons of lowest character? Nothing. What cannot be given up for Krishna? Everything. So I thought I'll share these realizations and how actually, even somewhere I read that even Devaki Mataji, in spite of she was going to be killed, she was even smiling because she knew that 8th child is going to be Krishna's, going to be Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's my relation. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Please, others would like to chip in. You can continue your realizations, please. Somebody had said, oh, we got Prachi, we got Pradhan Gopika Mataji as well. Oh, that's so nice. After such a long time, you are here.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for your nice realizations. Happy Janmashtami to everyone. I'm just going to.
So when she reads from her phone, the camera goes away. So she's using the phone there. Okay.
Yeah. So, today I was trying to focus on Lord Krishna's qualities and why Lord Krishna appears in this material world. And I came across a few punching points by Srila Prabhupada, but before that also beautiful class given by our beloved spiritual master, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. And there is a lot of different verses quoted in by Maharaj, but I'll just quote only the first one, which is which will help us meditate on the glorification of the appearance of Lord Sri Krishna. So this is Srimad Bhāgavatam, verse 10. So Canto 10, chapter 3, verse 1 to 5. So I'll just read only the meaning. Krishna's appearance spreads mode of goodness everywhere. Sri Sukha Uvacha Atha Sarva Gune Pata Kala Parama Sobanaha Yarhi Eva Jana Janma Ksham Shantar Sagrahatarakam. Thereafter, at the translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thereafter, at the auspicious time for the appearance of the Lord, the entire universe was surcharged with all the qualities of goodness, beauty, and peace. The constellation Rohini appeared, as did stars like Ashwini. The sun, the moon, and the other stars and planets were very peaceful. All directions appeared extremely pleasing, and the beautiful stars twinkled in the cloudless sky. So I'm just going to read few sentences because it's very apt to what happened yesterday in Auckland. So first, this is by Maharaj. I'm just reading it and then go further. First, now we thought about 3 or 4 things, So please recapitulate it. Which are the first thing that happens at the appearance of Krishna? Sarva gune pateha, sarva guno petaha. All around endued with material attributes or facilities. Guna means good qualities, the mode of goodness. So everything is converted to mode of goodness. You saw today we performed Mangal Aarti and heavy rainfall was there. I told you in the morning that if we would not have been in Mangal Aarti, if you would have been in bed, then our throat will be choked. Oh, it's raining, come on, sleep. Again in the mode of goodness. But because we are in Mangal Aarti, the rain did its work and we did our work. This is how. We did not go to the mode of ignorance. Otherwise, the change of weather forces us to go into the mode of ignorance. And people only talk about the weather, nothing else. Oh, today it was raining very heavy. For the whole day, they talk about the same rain because they don't have anything to talk. What is that? That people who are not with Krishna, they have thousands of matter to speak. So I just thought this was very apt with our condition in Auckland here and how it put into perspective that, our devotional activity should not stop because of external factors. And then I was just reading a few verses which Srila Prabhupada narrates a lot of times, and there are some punches in some of them. So the first one is Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 2, verse 66. Nasti buddhi ayuktasya na cha yuktasya bhavana na cha bhavayata santi asantasya kuta sukham. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, it's a small purport, so I'll just read. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, verse 29, that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results of sacrifice and penance, that he is the proprietor of all universal manifestations, and that he is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. And when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace, however much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life. Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. So found that very powerful and very apt in today's world when there is a lot of things going on and creates a lot of disturbance for us living entities, and also puts the position of material world in perspective and our position in the material world in perspective. My position, sorry. The next verse is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 14. Tasmad ekena manasa Bhagavan satvatam pati Shotavya kirtitavyascha Dhyaya pujyascha nityadaha. So translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. And purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'll just read the first sentence, and I think it's the last sentence. It's really powerful. If realization of the absolute truth is the ultimate aim of life, it must be carried out by all means. The actual object of glorification is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created everything manifested before us. The tendency to glorify others or hear others must be turned to the real object of glorification, the Supreme Being, and that will bring happiness. And when I was reading this, I remembered our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, mentioned this fact about Srila Prabhupada, that, what did Srila Prabhupada do? Srila Prabhupada only and only and only glorified Lord Krishna throughout his whole life. And what happened because of that? That there are millions and millions of followers, and still happening, so many followers of Srila Prabhupada who are glorifying Srila Prabhupada. And at every time of the day, you can see that there is, Mangalarti happening, and then also Srila Prabhupada's glorification happening. So it really put into perspective that, especially for me, I think we all like to be glorified. And this put me into perspective that the real object of glorification is only and only Lord Krishna. I'll just take 2 more minutes. So just the last one, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29, verse 45. So ananto kara kalo anadiradi avyaya janam janena janayan marayan mrityunantakam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The eternal time factor has no beginning and no end. It is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the maker of the criminal world. It brings about the end of phenomenal world. It carries on the work of creation by bringing one individual into existence from another. And likewise, it dissolves the universe by destroying even the Lord of Death, Yamraj. So, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this, I just wanted to read. By the influence of eternal time, which is a representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Father begets a son and the Father dies by the influence of cruel death. But by time's influence, even the Lord of cruel death is killed. In other words, all the demigods within the material world are temporary, like ourselves. Our lives last for 100 years at the most, and similarly, although their lives may last for millions and billions of years, the demigods are not eternal. No one can live within this material world eternally. The phenomenal world is created, maintained, and destroyed by the signal of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, a devotee does not desire anything in this material world. A devotee desires only to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This servitude exists eternally. The Lord exists eternally. His servitor exists eternally. And the service exists eternally. So when I was reading this verse, I was just thinking that how much Srila Prabhupada has brought this devotional service into our lives. Because I remember, as pointed out by my Prabhuji earlier, when we had the lectures, we used to always come upon this point that there's a difference in devotion and devotional service. And it is only and only because of Srila Prabhupada that we got introduced to devotional service. When I'm sure most of us will resonate with this thought that when you have Janmashtami, you can you have so many services. Even at home, you have your Mangalati to perform, you can do your reading of Bhagavatam, you can cook for Krishna, you can decorate the altar and the house for Krishna. And whilst you're doing those activities, then the austerity takes the back seat. But if you are not doing devotional service and you're just sitting, just waiting for 12 o'clock to happen so you can eat, then it is completely different. And why I felt is this realization came to me this morning, that as soon as you enter into that realm of devotional service. So for example, for me, I can relate to this, that when I as soon as I enter the kitchen, then your consciousness, your thought process, your activities, everything starts to work automatically. And this is because of practice. And then you are not aware of your austerity, your hunger, or your pain, or anything like that. And I'm sure all the Prabhujis and Matajis, in whatever activity we can relate ourselves to, when we're doing the devotional activity, then all this pain automatically just goes away. And that is the beauty that I personally feel that Srila Prabhupada has so wonderfully brought into our lives. Because sometimes it's very easy to just read and then we don't know how to implement it. But thanks to Srila Prabhupada, we can. And with that in mind, I would like to end my realization. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for your really nice realizations. My realization is very simple. It's really nothing out of the ordinary. It's actually a subset of what Srila Prabhuji said earlier, that with Krishna comes all auspiciousness, right? That when Krishna was born, when he was about to appear in this material world, Prabhupada writes in this Krishna book that when the time was mature for the appearance of the Lord, the constellations became very auspicious. So I found this sentence very interesting because it's not that it was an auspicious time and then Krishna was born. It's that when he was about to be born, the constellations became very auspicious. And at the time, Prabhupada also writes that at the time of Krishna's birth, the planetary systems were automatically adjusted so that everything became auspicious. And he particularly mentions this one star known as Rohini, which essentially depicts auspiciousness. And at that time, it became very dominant. So I was kind of reading through the lines of this particular paragraph. For some reason, I read this paragraph a lot of times, and it kind of I kind of picked up this one point that Prabhupada writes that the star is considered to be very auspicious and is under the direct supervision of Brahma. And the star, which is under the direct supervision of Brahma, in the first chapter, we see that Lord Brahma is praying to Lord Krishna to, to appear in this world and to kind of take care of all the demonic activities that are happening. So Lord Brahma is obviously subordinate to Lord Krishna. And under Lord Brahma's supervision, this star Rohini works, which depicts all auspiciousness. So I was thinking about this, that, I see a lot of people, especially in India, who are really, really concerned with, the auspiciousness of the stars and the astrology behind everything. And it's a great business in India. And I was just thinking that, just simply with the appearance of Krishna, whether it's in this world or it's in the life of somebody or in the heart of someone, just with his appearance, everything, even constellations and even the stars, everything becomes auspicious. Then why must we care so much about astrology and all these, the auspiciousness of the stars and everything? And I remember reading this somewhere that, worry is for the people who don't have faith, right? So with Krishna comes all the auspiciousness, right? And there are a lot of mentions of this particular point, that there was like auspiciousness in all the directions, and everywhere the rivers were flowing and it was raining and flowers were blooming everywhere, and it's all because of the appearance of Krishna. And there was also, Prabhupada also writes that, on the day Krishna appeared, the moon was not supposed to be full, but just because he appeared on that day, it was a full moon night. And it was because, there was happiness and auspiciousness everywhere around. And when Krishna was born, he was fully decorated. Like generally, we see that how kids are born, they're not decorated or anything. But Krishna was born beautifully with all the paraphernalia and everything. And so I found that really interesting. And along with that, I also noticed that, Prabhupada also writes that because it was raining very heavily, and the rivers there were overflowing, and still they gave Vasudev the perfect amount of path just to pass through. And Lord Sheshnath was also covering Lord Vasudev from the top, just so there not be any problems or any obstacles in taking Lord Krishna to Vrindavan or Gokul. So I was seeing just how Krishna ensures that in any as long as your purpose is aligned with the words and the instructions of Krishna always ensures that there is just the right amount of resources for you to carry out his order or to carry out his instructions. So even in this stormy night where the rivers are overflowing and there are no resources with Lord Vasudev, still Like he got the path from the river, and the protection from Lord Sheshnag, and all of this because he wanted to deliver. He wanted to take Krishna out of there and take him to Vrindavan. So I was really interested by this point that in such a precarious condition in the middle of the night, when all of it probably everyone is very scared and anxious because sorry, Lord Vasudeva is very anxious because if he gets to find out about this about the fact that Lord Krishna is born, he doesn't know what will happen. So even in the midst of all of this, Krishna made sure that everyone is safe, and that all the guards in the prison fell asleep. Everyone was under the influence of Yog Maya, as Prabhupada writes in the Krishna book. So yeah, just I feel like this entire sequence of Krishna being born and then being transported to some other place. It's just a perfect depiction of how just first that all auspiciousness comes from Krishna, and second that how he arranges for everything perfectly. That even if we think about it, we can never think about or arrange for these things in such precarious situations, but Krishna arranges for everything more beautifully than we can imagine. So yeah, Hare Krishna.
Okay, we are very close to 11 o'clock. We still got about 5-7 minutes. Anyone like to speak your realizations, please feel free.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Wish you all a very happy Janmashtami. I will share the realization from the book, The Nectar of Devotion. The chapter is Qualities of Sri Krishna. There's 64 qualities of Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna's mentioned in this book, and then I like to talk about the Krishna's one of the quality that is grateful. I will just read a small paragraph about the grateful. Any person who is conscious of his friend's beneficent activities and never forgets his service is called grateful. In the Mahabharata, Krishna says, "When I was away from Draupadi, she cried with the words, 'Hey Govinda.' This call for me has put me in her debt, and the indebtedness is gradually increasing in my heart." This statement by Krishna gives evidence of how one can please the Supreme Lord simply by addressing him, "Hey Krishna, Hey Govinda." The Mahamantra, "Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare," is also simply an address to the Lord and his energy. So to anyone who is constantly engaged in addressing the Lord and his energy, we can imagine how much the Supreme Lord is obliged. It is impossible for the Lord to ever forget such a devotee. It is clearly stated in this verse that anyone who addresses the Lord immediately attracts the attention of the Lord, who always remains obliged to him. Another instance of Krishna's feeling of obligation is stated in connection with his dealings with Jambavan. When the Lord was present as Lord Ramchandra, Jambavan, the great king of the monkeys, rendered very faithful service to him. When the Lord again appeared as Lord Krishna, he married Jambavan's daughter and paid him all the respect that is usually given to superiors. Any honest person is obliged to his friend if some services has been rendered unto him. Since Krishna is the supreme honest personality, how can he forget an obligation to his creator? So it's very nicely Srila Prabhupada explained the quality of Krishna gratefulness. So from this quality of Krishna, my realization is Krishna is really so grateful. Even I'm not sincere, he's always fulfill my desire, and he always protects us from all the difficulties. Even if I'm doing small devotional service for Krishna, it's like it's truly said that if we take one step towards Krishna, Krishna will take 1,000 steps towards us. So what I realize is I should intensify my bhakti and I become sincere. So this is my realization today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Happy Janmashtami to everyone. Nice to see you all. I have a small realization to share. I was actually meditating upon the appearance of Lord Krishna and what it means to me in my life. And I came across a nice verse in Srimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, verse 30, where this is part of the prayers that the demigods are singing to Lord Krishna. So I think, in just conscious of time, so I'll go straight to the translation. O lotus-eyed Lord, by concentrating one's meditation on your lotus feet, which are the reservoir of all existence, and by accepting those lotus feet as the boat by which to cross the ocean of nescience, one follows in the footsteps of Mahajans, great saints, sages, and devotees. By this simple process, one can cross the ocean of nescience as easily as one steps over the hoofprint of a calf. It's a small part, but if it's all right, I would like to read it. Yeah. The true mission in life is to cross the ocean of nescience, of repeated birth and death. Those in the darkness of ignorance, however, do not know this mission. Instead, being carried away by the waves of material nature, prakrite kriyamanani, gune karmani sarvashaha, Bhagavad-Gita chapter 3, verse 27, they are undergoing the tribulations of mrityu samsara vartamani, Bhagavad-Gita chapter 9, verse 3, repeated birth and death. But persons who have achieved knowledge by the association of devotees follow the Mahajans, Mahat Kritena. Such a person always concentrates his mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord and executes one or more of the 9 varieties of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam. That's Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, verse 23. Simply by this process, one can cross the insurmountable ocean of nescience. Devotional service is powerful in any form. Sri Vishnu Shravane Parikshid Abhavad Vaishya Sakhihi Kirtane. That's in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Canto verse, Chapter 2, verse 265. According to this verse, Maharaj Parikshit became liberated by fully concentrating his mind on hearing the Lord's holy name, attributes, and pastimes. Similarly, Shukadev Goswami simply glorified the Lord, and by speaking on the subject matters of Krishna that constitute the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, he too was liberated. One may also be liberated simply by Sakhya, friendly behavior with the Lord. Such is the power of devotional service, as we learn from the examples set by the Lord's many pure devotees. Swayambhu Naradaha Sambhu Kumaraha Kapilo Manuhu Pralado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vaishya Sakhir Vayam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, verse 20. We have to follow in the footsteps of such devotees, for by this one easy process, one can cross the great ocean of nescience, just as one might cross a small hole created by the hoof of a calf. Here the Lord is described as Ambujaksha, or lotus-eyed. By seeing the eyes of the Lord, which are compared to lotus flowers, one becomes so satisfied that one does not want to turn his eyes to anything else. Simply by seeing the transcendental form of the Lord, a devotee is at once fully absorbed in the Lord in his heart. This absorption is called samadhi. Dhyana vashtita tad gatena manasa pashyanti yam yoginaha. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 13, verse 1. A yogi is fully absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for he has no other business than to think of the Lord always within the heart. It is also said, Samsharitaye padapallavaplavam mahatpadam punyaya shomorarehe bhavam buddhir vatsapadam param padam 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 yad vipadam natesham. For one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation, and is famous as Murari, the enemy of the demon Mura, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's hoofprint. His goal is Parampadam, or Vaikunta, the place where there are no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, verse 58. This process is recommended here by authorities like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Swayambhur Naradaha Sambhuhu. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, verse 20. And therefore, we must take to this process in order to transcend nescience. This is very easy, but we must follow in the footsteps of great personalities, and then success will be possible. In regard to the word Mahatkritena, it is also significant that the process shown by the great devotees is not only for them, but also for others. If things are made easy, this affords facility for the person who has made them easy, and also for others who follow in the same principles. The process recommended in this verse for crossing the ocean of nescience is easy not only for the devotee, but also for common persons who follow the devotee. Mahajano yena gataha sa pantaha. Chaitanya Charitamrit Madhya Leela, Chapter 17, verse 186. And just small realization on this. Here in the verse and in the purport, there is a lot of reference to padam, or feet. The Lord's lotus feet, following in the footsteps of Mahajans, and then the hoof print of a calf. The Lord's feet are the reservoir of all existence. Our problems are like the small calf's hoof print, which are so insignificant compared to the Lord's lotus feet. To us, these material problems seem to be like an ocean, but in actuality, when we surrender unto the Lord's lotus feet as the boat by which to cross this ocean, then we can simply overcome these problems, like crossing over a hoof print. The true mission in life is to cross the ocean of nescience, and this can be done by engaging in the 9 processes of bhakti, but knowing how to properly engage in bhakti can only be learned by following in the footsteps of the great Mahajans and devotees. Janmashtami is the celebration of Krishna's appearance on planet Earth. Krishna, who appeared as the savior at a much needed time. I can't help but draw some similarities to my own life. In Janmashtami 2021, Krishna has appeared once again in the form of chanting, devotee association, and scriptures, and saved me from feeling anxious and lost, especially in these last few months. The appearance of Krishna in my life is only due to the causeless mercy of senior devotees, without whom I would feel completely lost. I want to thank His Grace Amrish Prabhuji, Her Grace Punya Pragya Mataji, and also my parents, His Grace Avinash Krishna Das and Her Grace Sarvasiddhi Devi Dasi, without whom, for also always guiding me on the right path and showing me the right way. Never had I imagined in my life that I would be spending Janmashtami alone. But thanks to these online classes, I'm able to get the association of devotees and don't feel alone at all. I pray to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, and all devotees here that by your mercy, I'm able to meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord and continue to follow in the footsteps of the senior devotees, thus purifying my bhakti. That's my realization. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Anyone like to say something? Please.
Sorry, very nice to see you online. Pradhan Gopika Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Bol, Hare Bol.
Yeah, so when we are talking about realization, this is very actually important thing in today's materialistic world. And then we talk about Krishna's realization. Realization is very much effective thing in our life, which daily basis a lot of people forget. What we do, what we say to an individual, or to commit somebody, or to do anything. Before that we have to think and we have to realize. But this is the thing in today's world is missing. But thanks to once again to his grace Amrish Prabhu, that he had given a very nice subject matter, known as Krishna's realization, which come back not only to us with about the Krishna, but also to get awareness about the society, about the people, as well as about us. That is what the thing. And in today's world, this is very much important thing which we require daily basis, just to get awareness, particularly for the devotees. If we not realize, we can't preach. If we not realize, we can't preach. And if we can't realize Krishna, we can't preach even a single thing. There are a lot of people says, we did that, we do that, but they didn't realize what they're saying and what they're doing. The actions are different from the words because there is a deficiency in the realization. So how to talk about Krishna's realization? That is big thing. If we want to realize Krishna, my Guru Maharaj says always, act as per Krishna's verdict. Act as per Krishna's verses. Then only you realize Krishna. This is very much important thing. I don't know about not many people, but when I was always going to His Holiness Mahavishnu Swami Maharaj's quotes, my Guru Maharaj's quote, that shows that how much they are realized soul. My Guru Maharaj is one of the best example in today's world. After going so much of the obstacles and defeating all the obstacles and still forming the Krishna consciousness, is one of the realized soul. How Guru Maharaj is so firm. And this is because all by the mercy of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. But this is very much important, this realization topic. That's why Srila Prabhupada had made a book, had invented a book, which is known as Path of Self-Realization. And this is very much important. I still remember when very first time I landed in New Zealand in the year 2017. And I think in between the month of the October and the November, Amrish Prabhu's lecture, I still remember the very first lecture in the NewZealand, where he had explained about the same topic, which is known as Kritagyata. And Kritagyata comes when we realize. I still remember that word from the Amrish Prabhu. That is very much less people can speak, particularly even of ISKCON, because not many are that realized soul like Amrish Prabhu was there. That's the reason he can speak about the Kritagyata. I still remember. And that happens practically when people doesn't realize those things. And that is the reason we miss the Krishna. So how could we can understand the Krishna? I'll not take that much of time today, but it is very much necessary, before taking initiation or before joining ISKCON or Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, we have to cult our realization, at least the basic principles of the realization. Then only we can understand Krishna. And then we have a slowly, hello, Hare Krishna. And then when we have a slowly gradual association with the devotees, when we start practicing, then we'll definitely realize the Krishna. That's what always Guru Maharaj always say. Bhakti is the process of the self-realization, first of all. But that process, that realization has to grow gradually, not within a month, not within a couple of months, or not by so-called misleading peoples who deals with the bhakti in the name of the something. That's not the realization of the bhakti. And when you understand the realization of the bhakti, you automatically understand the realization of the Krishna. I can give you not that much of the quotes, but which is very much one of the favorite texts in the Bhagavad-Gita. Sarva dharma parityaga mama ekam sharanam vraja aham taham sarva papebhyo mokshayami ma sucha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. This verse and this verdict from Krishna's transcendental mouth, when comes somebody's heart, that shows that helps us to open the door of the first point of the realization, that how Krishna is so merciful to us. He's taking care of all, not only our liberation, but he's also taking care of all our sinful reaction. Those friends whom we spend over and years from the school, from the school time, from the college, from the childhood onwards, they even say. Even the wife will not say. Even my own parents will not say, who is going to take care of your sinful activities? But only Krishna can say, because that is all about Krishna. And that's attract. That's very important verse. Every day when I wake up, I always remember that thing, Sarva dharma parityaga mama ekam sharanam vraja aham taham sarva papebhyo mokshayami ma sucha. This is the first point of realization, if I am not wrong. Who's going to take care of daily basis my sinful reactions, sinful activities? Nobody. I think you guys still remember of Valmiki's story. Who's going to take care of his sinful activities? When Valmiki asked, oh my father, can you take my sinful activities reaction? Oh my mother, can you take my sinful activities reaction? Nobody. Even his wife, even his kids, whom he went for going to kill the people, they are also not going to take. But it's Krishna who is taking care of our all sinful activities. He's so merciful. That's the thing. But now the point of realization for the devotee should be there like that. We always realize about Krishna in different aspects. But do we realize what Krishna realized about us? I have that question. Do we realize what Krishna realized about us? We do realize a lot of things about Krishna. That Krishna is there. Krishna is the supreme personality of the Godhead. Krishna comes. Krishna is all pervading. Krishna is there incarnating for the people to save you. Even in this pandemic, he's saving us day by day, particularly even in the New Zealand. But what Krishna realized, none of us doesn't think. That's why somebody, I forget that day and who told me in the ISKCON, somebody told me that I'm for the millions, I'm for the trillions, and I'm from the billions, but nobody for me. Nobody for me. That is what the most important thing we have to ask. What Krishna realizes, what Krishna desires. Why not Krishna can't have the desire? Why not Krishna have the pain? When he creates the pain, when he creates the desire, why not Krishna has the desire? This is what very much important thing. And that's the reason Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had descended himself with the three purposes of the things. The reason why we felt today's Krishna consciousness, because we do a lot of things theoretically and not with the practice, practically, under not the, I can say, appropriate authorities. But if we have a really good authorities, we will definitely realize the Krishna consciousness. I'm thankful today in the Janmashtami that I got a very nice Guru Maharaj. After 10 years, when I spent in the ISKCON, I got initiation. But I got a very much truthful Guru Maharaj, spiritual master, His Holiness Jai Pataka Swami Maharaj. Also, I have once again thankful to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, who realized us. Without Krishna, we are nothing. Without Krishna, we are nothing. That's what I can say today, because I'm going to the lot of current situations, but the most important thing, we all go to the temple, particularly in the Kumi, or we all go to the temple in all other parts of the world. But one thing we miss is realization. Once we come out from the gate of that temple, our realization automatically missed out. when we come into the house. But very few like Amrish Prabhu, I see that realization is still activate in our body. In today's world, we might be, pandemic had bubbled us, but we had bubbled our realization long back. And that is the reason even the pandemic also had occurred. Day by day, even the devotees for the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I think I forget that shloka right now. Okay, because this is also, I am also not that much of realized soul, But once he told, Age achar tapore prachar. We have to practice it. Unless we doesn't realize the taste of the Krishna, how could we can distribute the taste of the Krishna to the others? If I am not wrong, Amrish Prabhu, am I right? That is what the thing. And that's because the missing of the realization is that we doesn't have the right association. We have the wrong association who pretend they are realized. And that's the reason the medicine, what we get is the duplicate medicines, which doesn't heal to us. We need somebody who can give us the actual realization. One who feels the pain, that person can only understand the pain. One who experienced the sea, one who experienced the roughness of the sea, can explain the roughness of the sea. One who experienced the sweetness of the Krishna definitely can explain the sweetness of the Krishna to others. So we need, the point missing of the realization is that we need a very much experienced authorities who had given their life for the ISKCON and who had realized what is about ISKCON, what is about Krishna, what is about Guru. The other one can give us realization. Without that, it's not possible. As I think Jai Prabhu had already mentioned previously in his very first sloka from the Brahma Samhita, Vedesha Dullabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Even in the Vedas, we can find Krishna. It is just because Krishna is all above the Vedas also. But only one can give us the actual taste of the Krishna. That is his confidential devotees. And we need definitely a confidential devotees to guide us. We don't want, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada says, I'm not here to make disciples, I'm here to make the gurus. Because he know that he is a realized soul. That is what the thing. We don't want that much of the people who just interested to make the disciples. No, we don't want them. We want the people who realize the Krishna and who can give us even a second of the happiness, which is known as the pursuit of the happiness. And that's only 1 week when we can realize the Krishna. But despite all the things, Sarva Dharma Parityaga Mama Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Taham Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Sami Ma Sucha. I'm repeating this sloka again and again because this is the most realization soul. If somebody, even a people who is working, who is not having any trust in the principles of the religion, or even if he's an atheist class, but if he realizes the verdict of this, the last verdict of the Krishna, that who is this person who is taking care of my sinful activities and trying to give me liberation, then automatically he gets realized. It's nobody can do. Only one and only one can do. And only one can state that verdict in the Bhagavad-Gita. That is all about Krishna. And that is the most important point of the realization. Think about it. When we go from the morning, when we start out, 8:30 we start for the office. How many sinful activities we did even in a day? Nobody counts. Nobody counts. Everybody thinks that we are not that sinful activities. We didn't do any sinful activities. But still, there is something we did. But Krishna is the witness of all our activities. At least that we can realize. Krishna is the only witness of all our activities. But still he is taking care of all our sinful activities and just to get the pathway of the liberation. Not only the pathway of the liberation, but to attain the highest goal of the life, which is known as Golaka Vrindavana, where we can get the highest perfection of the life. That is all about Krishna. If we start realizing in that way, every day morning when we start going to the office 8:30, we will find out and we will definitely have a realization of the Krishna. Krishna is there. Yatra tatra sarvatra. He is in the temple, he is outside the temple. And every day is Janmashtami, you know. Because he is unborn at the same time. But for the devotees, he took born. So that's what all about Krishna. Thing is that we are spending the Janmastamis, we are doing everything. But we are spending our with backlogs. We don't realize who is there in our backlogs. Think about it before doing any activities and realize about Krishna, that somebody, not even the High Court of the judge will see, but at least Krishna is going to be seen. That's what important. That's what important. If an individual learn about this self-realization, why Prabhupada had given this path of self-realization? First, to be cult yourself with the basic manners. And that is because of the self-realization. When we understand the basic realization, then only we can go with the basic manners. Then we talk about the higher philosophy of the Krishna consciousness. But very sorry and unfortunately to say, not many people realize in today's world. Not only not many people, but a lot of the people even in the temple who are regularly coming, what they speak, what they do, but their actions are totally different. Just because they are not realizing the things. But fortunately, we are in a very lucky stage and we are in a lucky era. We have a Nama Sankirtan movement where we can at least for a moment, we can realize Krishna through the name. Can we all chant today together? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. This is my point of self-realization I'm completing today, and wish you all a very happy, blissful, and prosperous Krishna consciousness Janmashtami. Thank you very much.
Anyone else have to speak something, please? Feel free. Your realizations. Okay, I'll wait for 10 more seconds. Okay, Hare Krishna. So thank you very much to all the devotees for your wonderful realizations. We are at 11:25. I know many of us are fasting today without water as well. So we would want to break our fast at 12 o'clock. And tomorrow morning, we're again meeting very early for Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. So once again, I want to thank all of you for your wonderful realizations. It's very nice to have association of devotees, like-minded devotees. I can see everyone here. And just one person I do not know. Would you like to identify yourself? Hare Krishna. You're named as Hare Krishna. We do not know you. Would you like to introduce yourself, please? If you want to. If not, it's fine.
I think I've invited one gentleman, Ashok Baduria. He should be there because I shared that information with you. Ashokji, is it you?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, she's my friend Riya.
Okay.
Oh, I'm confused.
Okay, so welcome to Riya then. All right. Now, what I wanted to share my realizations is we've been discussing for many long time, the past few weeks, about But this is it's not for new devotees. So it's not for me. And this could get very confusing to people who are new. And I'm very reluctant to speak these realizations. Because how many of you know Manvantara? So, yeah, I'm very, very reluctant. I do not know. Although I promised all of you to speak. Actually, my preparation is for 1 hour. It will go much beyond 12 o'clock. But yeah, because for new people, it may be not very palatable, what we're going to speak. So I do not know. If you promise you're not going to have digestion problems, so yeah, it won't be. Okay, I'll keep it simple then. So all of you know about Janmashtami. We gave a lot of what do you call it? Name calling to the demon Kamsa. All of us know about Kamsa, the maternal uncle of Krishna, who wanted to kill his sister Devaki. So my question to you all of is, was Devaki a real sister of Kamsa? Just tell me yes or no. Don't look anywhere else. If you know, fine. If you don't know, just tell me I don't know. So all this while we thought Devaki is real sister of Kamsa. I'll tell you a story of Kamsa. When the 28th Dwapar Yuga, or the present Manvantara, arrived, the first sentence is this. So how do you understand? Yeah, I do not know. I can't teach you what is Satya Yuga, what is Treta Yuga, what is Dwapar Yuga, what is Kali Yuga at this stage, and we will miss out on the pastimes there. So this is the 28th of the 7th Manvantara in the day of Brahma. This is the 51st year of Brahma. 50 years are completed, 51st year, and the 7th Manvantara. So 7 Manus are finished. The 7 Manu continuing here. Whoever's with Manu, the 28th Yuga cycle, which is continuing, and we are now in the Kali Yuga. Before that was Dwapar Yuga. So at this stage, a great king named Ugrasena was residing in Mathura, born of Yadu dynasty. At that time, in a very distant place, which is now in Vidarbha, Maharashtra, a great king named Satyaketu was residing. He had a very beautiful daughter with beautiful lotus-like face, lotus-like petals, like eyes. Her name was Padmavati. So it so happened that Ugrasen, when he heard about her beauty, he married her. Now we say Ugrasen. Actually, Ugrasen is also not the real king of Mathura. He was given to run Mathura by father of Vasudeva. So, anyway, that's another point. There are too many rivers are too many diversions. Let's focus here. So Ugrasen really loved Padmavati. He loved her very, very much. And so much so that he did not do anything without her. He would eat with her, play around with her. Everything was going on with her. He cannot leave her at all. So Padmavati was also very fond of him. Now, after marriage, Padmavati's father, Satyaketu, the king of Vidarbha, became morose. Father became sad seeing the daughter away. And she did not come to meet the father for a long time. So he sent a message, please come and visit us for some time. We'll get back our life. So she goes. She said, okay. Ugrasen says, please, you must go meet the father. She goes and she meets Satyaketu, goes back to her father, Satyaketu, which was overjoyed seeing his daughter visit him. And she very happily remained in her father's residence. And Padmavati enjoyed with her friends there, childhood friends. She felt very much at home again, became just like a young woman before marriage. Now, once when Padmavati we are discussing this to find out who's Kamsa. How come Kamsa, such a great noble person like Ugrasen's son, became such a big demon? We should ask this question. Don't accept things as like that. If you do not ask, you'll be fooled by the world. I can tell you this. Don't look at Google or anything. Just look into me. So once when she was enjoying herself with the family, with her friends and all, in the mountainous region of Vidarbha, you see, you'll find all these things in movies also. They went to swim in a lake, very nice, beautiful lake. And she was very beautiful amongst all her friends also. As they were enjoying in the lake, he was a demon, but he was a servant of Kuber. He was passing by and he saw, oh, who's this? Such a beautiful woman. How nice. What is this? He immediately wanted to enjoy her, And out of because don't think that demons they are not well versed in Vedic scriptures. They are well versed. They don't implement it. The difference between devotees and demons is this only. Devotees know, but implement it. Demons also know, but they don't implement it. They ignore it. Like a demon or a criminal knows that if he does something, the police will come and lock him up in the jail. Still they'll do it. A sane person will not do it. He knows police will come lock him. I'll not do it. You see, there's a difference. So he said, I want to enjoy this woman. But he also thought that how come he used his mystic power to find out about her. So he found out through his meditation that this woman is actually the wife of Ugrasen, the daughter of King of Vidarbha. You see, why did Ugrasen send this woman to his father's house? He's such a great fool, man. Maybe he is important, not able to satisfy her. And what is the reason? Maybe, he may not be able to live without her, what the situation is, What is this going on? Seeing her, he said, I've become completely enamored, with passion. I want to enjoy her. So, and moment any person is in greed, afflicted by lust, any kind of lust. Lust cannot be only for sex, for money also. People, they are lusty, they will not think, they cannot give up money. You have seen in preaching, do whatever they want to do, they cannot give up money. They cannot give up sex, they cannot give up ill feeling, they cannot give up speaking wrong about others. All these things go on. Because lust is a very dangerous situation. So he admits this, that I'm inflicted by lust, I cannot give up lust now. So it's finished. I have to have her. So he said, now she will not come to me. So by mystic power, he said, I will become like Ugrasen. And then she'll come to me. So as they were swimming in the lake, he took the form of Ugrasen. Even the dialect that he spoke, language is one thing, but dialect has been spoken. He spoke the same dialect, dressed in the same way, and he stood by the tree and started to sing. This is Bollywood movie, exactly. So what is happening today is just reflection of what was happening all this while in a perverted way. So this Padmavati hears this sound. It sounds like my husband. But she was drawn by the sound. She goes up with the friends and sees this person and says, Ugrasen? So my husband is here. So she thought, how can he be here? This doesn't make any sense, But still, this person, this demon by the name Gobila, his name is Gobil. He calls her, come, my darling. So Padmavati was doubtful about her husband. She hung her head down in shame, Doesn't make sense. And then she thought, what am I doing? My husband is calling me. He'll get angry, So I must follow, go there. And then while she was thinking like this Gobila demon again called her. Come, my darling. I long for your love. I was unable to live without you. That's why I came here. So don't be sorry. So she came and he embraced her and took her away to a secluded place and enjoyed for his desire. Now what happened is, while they were enjoying, he was trying to, enjoy her. She knew that I cannot speak out all those things further here, that there were some markings in the body of Ugrasen, So she picked up, there is no marking here. So my doubt is correct. Something is wrong here, He says, who are you? Why are you acted so wickedly? She became very upset, because she couldn't find that marking, which only the wife could know, With the tears in her eyes, she became very upset. So, you wicked one, you have come as a disguise of my husband. You have destroyed my chastity, my purity, which was my best virtue. See, in today's world, in the name of equality, first thing they do is make women drop their dresses, and so you're equal to men. Tell men to drop the dress, they'll not. But women have to drop the dress to show inequality. Here, she says, my biggest virtue was my chastity. You've taken it away from me. This is nonsense. This is so wrong what you've done is. And now you will witness the power of my curse. So she was going to curse him big time. So Gobila, he gave her Gnan. Listen to what he used to say. He says that, why should you curse me? He said, I am the demon. So, passionate person, demon, Gobila. I'm a servant of Kubera. I know the Vedas, he said, and I'm skilled in arts. Being a demon, I take the wealth and wives of others by force. So this is the only way known to me. Every day we observe the faults of Brahmanas and then destroy their penances. You see, many times people are envious people, they find out your faults and capitalize on your faults. Politicians are like this. People are like this. So they are demons. This is a demon tendency. At least at that time they could accept it. Here people are not accepting it. They go as very rich people means very big. They drive a BMW means it is very rich. So it's all good only. So he says, this is what we do, fault finding of Brahmanas. The moment we find the fault, we destroy the Brahmanas' penances. So we also delight in defiling sacrifices of the demigods. So demigods, we don't want to give sacrifice to demigods, yagnas. So I roam around the world living the life of a demon. So what is my fault? Just see, he is attacking her back again. See, the time is different. And he said, what am I doing wrong, man? So Padmavati said, you have destroyed my chastity. That is wrong. I'm a virtuous woman, a lover of my husband. You have defiled me by means of deceit. Therefore, I will curse you. Now, this is from Padma Purana, this whole episode. Now, then Gopila explained further. He's giving her Gnan more. He said, we demons and evil spirits, we are created by Brahma for this purpose only. Just see. So we have to learn from these things. So we have to learn that how to identify a good friend, good person and a bad person. Both men and women, both, especially for women. So if you find a demonic person, they lure you, don't be so they give you gifts and all this for enjoyment. Don't be dancing around the person. That's foolishness. He says, we are created demons and evil spirits, demon tendencies. The evil spirit. So Brahma created us for this purpose only. We know all about dharma, he says, but we don't practice it. It's very easy for them to say, we don't practice this, And then he says that those who pretend to be religious but act in a very opposite way are punished by demons and evil spirits. That is our job. You see? So they also do a job. Those who are trying to use dharma's name to do all wrong things, So you have done a terrible, cruel thing, he's telling her. He's not satisfied. He's giving her back even more, man. There's so much to learn. So he says, you have done a terrible, cruel thing. Why abandoning duties as a housewife did you come here? First question he asked her. Having left your husband, you are now dressed in a very attractive manner with fine jewelry. Why are you doing this? Can you tell me? You are an unchaste. He goes further. He said, you are an unchaste woman, he's telling her. When a woman occupies a separate bed, not sleeping with her husband, she is viewed as unchaste. Ooh. A woman who leaves the husband desiring to work for someone else is viewed as unchaste woman. People say that such a woman who enjoys pleasure and decorates herself nicely when her husband has gone to another place is unchaste. Your husband is far away from here. What kind of chaste woman are you? Padmavati said, cruel demon, how dare you? My father brought me here out of affection. I have thus not left my husband out of lust or something, or greed of any kind. It is you who have taken the guise of my husband and thus acted deceitfully. I will reduce you to ashes with my curse. So Gopila demon, sounds like Godzilla, So Gopila demon, he said, how can a blind person see the truth? Ooh, still goes on. When the desire to visit your father arose in your mind, you forgot all about your husband. Unchaste woman. You see, all the girls, men also, if given a chance, don't get me wrong, that when they're young, they tell their mother, I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to get married. I'm going to stay here with you only all the time. Till the time they get married or find their partner and they live. Men also the same thing. Don't feel like this. Same way. These tendencies are everywhere. And after that, they live far away without their parents and no problem. They enjoy their life peacefully. And they come and meet their parents for 1 or 2 days, a few days, and they go back. All this is forgotten. Now, this is not unchaste. I'm not saying that way. Don't get me wrong. This is natural. This is the way of life. This is material world. So Gobila is saying this to her. So when you had this desire, and the father came, so you came. So you forgot all about your husband, unchaste woman. I'm not afraid of you. Why are you trembling? Come to my house and enjoy pleasures with me. He's saying more to her, Padmavati remained adamant about her chastity, argued about it. She simply sat on the ground in a secluded place. Govila then said, I have deposited my seed within your womb. From it will spring a son who will agitate the three worlds. After saying this, the demon left. Now the princess Padmavati was full of grief. She wept profusely, went and told Padmavati's friends who came there the situation. They immediately went and spoke to Padmavati's parents. They went to the house, spoke to the mother. The mother spoke to the father. And they all decided she should be sent back to Mathura immediately, to Ugrasen. So King Ugrasen was very glad to see her return. That was his wife. Therefore, the fetus within Padmavati's womb continued to grow, causing fear in the three worlds. Padmavati began to make inquiries about any medicine, any herb where I can kill this, destroy this fetus. It's a very sinful thing to kill a fetus, unborn child, that she can have miscarriage. But every day she tried many different remedies, but it didn't work out. Then the fetus, see how powerful it is. The fetus told her, oh mother, why are you trying to kill me? All living beings have a fixed lifespan determined according to their past good and bad activities. Actually, you do not know who I am. Formerly, Lord Vishnu had killed the great demon Kalanemi. To take revenge, I am now been born as your son. So he's Kalanemi demon. And who's Kalanemi demon? Hiranyakashipu's son. After hearing this, Padmavati gave up all the attempts to kill the embryo. Thus, it came to be that Kamsa was born as a son of Ugrasen. Now, Ugrasen also killed. Kamsa also killed the 6 children of Devaki, right? There's a story behind it. Now, I am taking this time. I'm not speaking what I want to speak otherwise, please, about Krishna as a real reason for Krishna and Radhika, because that is the pastimes of Golok Vrindavan. I don't think we are very much ready for this. All of them, I'm sorry. That's why I'm talking about other things. We don't have time also. It's about 10 minutes now, 9 minutes. So that will take 1 hour for me to speak. So this Kalanemi, this Hiranyakashipu's grandsons, they actually rejected Hiranyakashipu, and to save themselves from Lord Vishnu, they all prayed to Lord Brahma. Hiranyakashipu also prayed to Lord Brahma. His grandchildren also prayed to Brahma. Did a lot of austerity. And when Brahma appeared, asking, what do you want? They said, we want that we should not be killed by any demigods. So, okay, given. Any demons, given. We should not be killed by any saints, given. See, just like Hiranyakashipu, they asked all the same things. And all these things Brahma had given. He understood why they are asking for this, because he had done the same thing with Hiranyakashipu. He said, no problem, you won't be killed by all of them. So when Hiranyakashipu realized this, all these children came, grandchildren. He said, you went to Brahma? You did not come to me to ask question. I am grandfather. You could have asked me. I could have told you. You're going there because you want to be saved by Vishnu. He said, I'll tell you one thing. Now I'm giving you a curse. So he curses. Don't think he's some ordinary people. I told you, demons also, they are big authorities. They do not implement the Vedic scriptures in their life. They know how to circumvent it. Just like the, as I told you, those who are doing wrong things, the thieves and the rogues, they know they'll go to the police. They'll be jailed, but they still do it. So he told them, I'm giving you a curse that your Kalnemi demon will come. Your father only will kill you. That is how Kamsa, Kalnemi came as Kamsa, and Kamsa killed the 6 children of Devaki, who is actually Aditi incarnation, and Vasudev was Kashyap Muni. And Rohini is also wife of Vasudev. But in the previous ages, previous time, she was also the wife of Kashyap Muni as Kadru. And because of curse and counter curse again between Aditi and Kadru, they were born, separated again, the wife, same husband, 2 wives. So there's no ordinary things here, And Krishna and Radhika appeared in this material world because there are pastimes in Golok Vrindavan also. Because they were cursed by Sudama, the friend of Krishna. Do not search out anywhere in Google. When the time is right, I'll tell you. Or you get confused otherwise. Do not do this. Never do this, any one of you. So there are reasons behind it. And as we know, that they are none other than Jay and Vijay, And we also know all these things also repeats, So one of you gave the realization that Vasudev is also the father of demigods, Devaki, mother of demigods. Somebody said that. It is the same thing because Aditi. She is Aditi. So this is how Kamsa was born. And Kamsa, how come we did not pick up that Devaki was not his real sister? You tell me. All these big pundits we are. So much degrees we have got, BA, BCom, MHD, PhD, Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhāgavatam, all these degrees we have got written down here, Senior devotee, this devotee, but we don't know. Devaki means the daughter of Devak. Devak is a younger brother of Vasudev. Ugrasena, sorry. That's why it's called Devaki. They're cousins. They're not real. That's why Kamsa is also called Bhoj. He's from Bhoj dynasty. See? Dynasty also different. And of course, he was caught up for his profits and all that by another great enemy of Krishna, Jarasandha, another demon there. That's why they got married. He got married, his daughter got married to him, Kamsa, And all this is there. I would like to tell you one one point. We are coming to 12 o'clock now. How did Vasudev convince Kamsa? You see, diplomatically, that's right. Prabhupada mentions that in the Krishna book, He was explaining dharma to Kamsa. Now we know who Kamsa is now, right? He's not ordinary person. So this is how he was explaining dharma to Kamsa, Vasudeva. I want to just quickly read that much. That should be enough for us to take to this time. He says that, when the prophecy comes, we understand this point about Kamsa taking the, carrying Devaki and Vasudeva after marriage, and the prophecy comes, his eighth child is going to kill you, so he goes to kill her, right? And Kamsa and Vasudeva is explaining to him. So what did he explain? I just wanted to read this 1 second. Oh man, where is it? Did I read here somewhere else? Oh, here it is. Okay. He says that, O king, so he's telling, Vasudeva is telling now Kamsa, O king, consider the disgrace that would incur your name by killing your own sister at the time of her marriage. So you are not in danger right now, are you? So because it has been predicted that her eighth son will be the cause of your death. Now listen to this. You women will be very happy. Or ladies who got inequality all the time, The equality is all humbleness. The fact that they're asking for equality means you are not equal. And how will they ask for equality? Tell me. You are intelligent women. You tell me one thing. Is it not so? Is it not so? If somebody tells me Ambrish will make you equal, means what? I'm not equal right now? Of course we are not equal right now. Foolishness. Now listen to this. One who kills an insignificant creature can atone for that sinful act simply by giving charity. So if you kill an insignificant creature, small, you can give charity, not just any charity, but Vedic charity, and you can atone for it. For killing non-ferocious animal, one must repent, because that sin awards a person 100 times the reaction for killing a ferocious animal. So if you kill a cow or a goat, eat mutton chops or chicken legs, then you get this. Okay. He says this is law handed down by Manu. He says further, one earns 100 times that sin by killing a mlecha. Mlecha is meat eater person, downgraded person. And 100 times more is received by killing a Shudra. The sin of killing 100 Shudras is obtained by killing a Vaishya. The killing of 10 Vaishyas equal to killing one cow. The killing of 10 cows is equivalent to killing one Brahmana, not by birth, by actions. And the killing of 10 Brahmanas equal to killing of a woman. So because Devaki is a sister and a woman, to kill her would be equivalent to killing 100 ordinary women, he's saying. Why do you want to do this? That's why he says, oh king, intelligent persons perform pious acts for the purpose of attaining heaven after death. Therefore, give up your fear. and let your sister live. Rest assured that when a son of Devaki is born, I will hand over the child to you for necessary action. Jai. It is 12:02 now. So Vasudeva, that's how safeguarded his wife Devaki, and Krishna was born. We know all the other stories. We must now celebrate Krishna's birth. We must chant one big Hare Krishna, all of us together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nanda Gair, Ananda Bayo, Jai Kanaya Lal Ki, Hathi Goda Pal Ki, Jai Kanaya Lal Ki, Jai Kanaya Lal Ki, Jai Kanaya Lal Ki. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Now, anyone has any questions, you can ask me now. We can break our fast. Yeah, please feel free. If there's burning questions, we can always ask. No problem. Yeah. Right. Okay. Thank you very much. So we'll meet now today morning, New Zealand time, 9 o'clock again. We will meet again. And till then, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Still, if you have any questions about what we discussed, feel free. I'm happy to answer the question. Don't feel like this. Very happy. No? All right. Thank you very much. Jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Gaur Chandra Premanande Hari Hari
Hari Hari Bol.
Janmashtami Mahotsav ki jai.
Jai.
Now someone has to sing Maharaj, please hear us. Someone has to sing very quickly. Who will sing that? Come on, sing quickly. Come.
Hear us. Maharaj, please hear us. We have learned some real good stuff. Maharaj, we have learned one thing. And today for you we will sing. If our room is clean, then our mind is clean. If our mind is clean, we can do anything. But if our room is dirty, then so are we. And if we are dirty, we're not happy. Wasting time is the greatest crime. Because wasted mind means because wasted time means a wasted mind. So best use your time when you're in your prime. And your whole life will be sublime. If your wealth is gone, then there's nothing wrong. But if your health is gone, that's a different song. But if your character dies, then the world will cry. Only saintly behavior, that's humanity thrive. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
We must always remember Krishna.
We must always remember Krishna
And never forget him too.
and never forget him too.
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
That is the greatest question.
That is the greatest question.
And here is the greatest clue.
And here is the greatest clue.
You must learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
You must walk so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
So listen really closely.
So listen very closely
And make your thinking sharp.
and make your thinking sharp.
We must.
Just learn.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
This is how to live, to work and to play.
If something is due tomorrow,
If something's due tomorrow,
If something's due tomorrow,
finish it today.
finish it today.
And whatever's due today,
And whatever is due today,
do it now, don't delay.
do it now, don't delay.
Your friends might be lazy
If your friends might be lazy
or doing bad things,
or doing bad things,
but if you think again,
but you think again,
don't follow them,
don't follow them,
and you will win the end.
and you will win the end.
Whatever work we given,
Whatever work we given,
we do our very best.
we do our very best.
We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
This is how to live, to work and to play. Then learn to live this way, you'll see Krishna every day.
This is how to live, to work and to play. If you learn to live this way, you'll see Krishna every day.
When our time is up, we take ourselves above. We sing and dance with him with our hearts full of love.
When the time is up, he'll take us above. We'll sing and dance with him with a heart full of love.
To chant Krishna's names, his glories and his fame. It's the only way this world you can never become same.
So chant Krishna's name, his glories and his fame. It's the
the only way this world will ever become sane.
Now please ask this greatest
Now
question
please ask this greatest question
and find this greatest clue.
and find this greatest clue.
You can only remember
You
Krishna
can only remember Krishna
if Krishna remembers you.
if Krishna remembers you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Holiness Srila Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Chandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Sri Krishna Janmashtami Mahotsav ki Jai. Nandotsav Mahotsav ki Jai. Prabhupada's Transcendental Vyas Puja Mahotsav ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna,
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna,
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
Hare Krishna,
all glories to Lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga ki Jai.
Hare
Krishna Prabhupada ki Jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Bhutale Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Bhutale Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurmani Prasad Nirvishishwani. So Hare Krishna. For those of you who want to break your fast, please break your fast nicely as much as we can. And meet in the morning at 9 o'clock. I don't think devotees from India will be able to meet you. It will be early morning, 1 o'clock or something, So that's all right. We'll meet you on YouTube,
UNC is meeting, Prabhu.
Oh, you're coming?